Hello, hello, everyone.
Too
Special,
soon.
special, special
Hello,
day.
hello,
Special,
hello.
special. Everyone, audience, thank you for joining us for the third edition of the Susu podcast. But today, we could argue this is the most special one of them all. And before I tell why, let me introduce my two co hosts, George, Blue. George, some words for the fans tuning in for today?
How are we all?
Blue, how we
Thank you for
doing? How we
joining
living?
us. We're very excited.
Sabadika.
All right,
Traditional
so
Thai hello.
that's a very good, Blue. I wish you would have taught us that before we went live. That's pretty cheeky. I like that. Look at this. Every
Oh
episode
mate,
getting
no, you
a little
see.
bit better. All right. So I teased why this is such a special episode. Boys, why are we so fired up today? It is the official preview show for the season 4 of the Futera United Fighting Football Club over in Thailand. This is our third episode, but for those that do not know about the On Chain Club, this is an original and you could say the only still standing on-chain sports team, led by Mark and the team out of Thailand. We are competing for the 4th season, but us lads right here, we are fans. We are in the Discord, and again for Futera United, it's all about fans become part of the club. What do you guys call it? It's Football Manager in real life, right?
Yeah, a bit of
That
FM.
sums up perfectly.
All right, so for today's show, right, we want to go through and catch everyone up. It's been a while since we last were on the pitch. What did we do this offseason? What does the squad look like today? We'll answer those questions. Then, some of the fun parts we just talked about, in real life football manager. We're going to give you that example of what did we vote on this week. We had 3 big votes. We'll go through what the lads voted on and why they did that. And then last, let's preview it. This is the excitement. We're getting ready for the big game against Police. For me, the dumb American talking soccer, it is at 2 a.m. For the lads, when they wake up, they get a nice treat of seeing the boys back on the pitch. So, George, I'm going to start with you. As we talk about this offseason, anything that stands out? Let's talk about, let's say, go back to the original, the trial list. We opened it up, 150 folks showed up. What did you think about that process?
It was good, but it was a lot to take um, in a reasonably short amount of time. Uh, it was sort of it was fast and frantic. Of here are the players, make a decision. I think some votes were like 24 hours. It was like watch a game, decide, and that sort of thing. It was yeah, it was pretty crazy, but enjoyed it when I could watch and get involved. And I've got a new favorite player from pre-season, which I'm excited to get his name in the back of my new top.
All right, I love that. Blue, how about over to you? What about you from the trialist game?
Yeah, as George says, it's not what you. We'll go back to FM or football in general. You'd scout players over weeks, maybe months, and you'd see them play games. You'd see them in training. They'd then come to you. They'd do a training session. You'd give them your physio and your medical team would look them over, make sure they didn't have any injuries that they needed to go off and have surgery for, all that kind of stuff. For us, it's one 90-minute game where they probably won't play the full 90 minutes because there's other trialists about, and you just have to make snap decisions on what you see. And to be honest, we have got it wrong in the past, but I think this season we've probably got it right. Fingers crossed. Touch wood.
All right, so I think that was a really nice preview. I'm going to pull up here on the screen for everybody is who we actually did sign. Uh, so on the screen for everyone, from left to right, we've got 5 new faces joining the fighting Susu. Let's go back to George here. Any one of these guys really get you excited? I know you kind of previewed that. Any thoughts on these lads?
Think it is. I'm not going to try and say his real name, but Ninja is the one that probably was the easiest decision to make. I think in the trial he sort of stood out as a player that we need. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure he scored in one of his first friend in one of his first friendly games. Um, I'm pretty sure. Probably I'm wrong, but I'm 90% sure he did.
Well, it was great, right? And I think one of the fallouts, and I'd like to go to this topic to Blue, is this has been a position of need, right? As we talked about the offseason going in, if we looked at the previous Susu podcast, scoring goals up top, it's been let's say, an opportunity for experiments. Blue, how do you think this experiment's going to fall out with the new signing Ninja?
Well, I think this is striker with the best pedigree. And I say that having said last season that we actually had a full-time international in the team, who's still in the team this season. But I, the reason that is because they actually don't pick players from their top league. There's a lot of politics that goes on. They then save those players. It means that you'll get players from the second division get picked anyway. This guy, Ninja, comes from Muangthong, who are the Man United of Thai football, partly because they've dropped right down at the moment as well. They were playing Liverpool and the likes sort of 20 years ago in all the friendlies. They're sort of that big a team. So he actually came originally from our academy, was bought by Muangthong, played for them up to the age of under 23s or under 21s. And then basically he realised he's not going to get into their team. So he's come back to us to play. His best friend is Ian Beale. So there's an instant synergy there. He wants to play with his best mate. Hopefully they're going to know how each other plays. And although I do expect it to take him a few games, I mean, you don't expect anybody to hit the ground running. So I expect him to sort of be in and out for a couple of games before he actually hopefully starts to dominate. But we've struggled for a striker for many a season now, even though we've only been around for like four or five seasons. So
yeah, it's our fourth season.
It's a difficult one.
Blue, I mean, this is why people tune into the Susu podcast. Look at that research, the history. I mean, the context there. I love that we've got the Manchester United guy coming back to join our squad, right? Tactically, though, George, what gets you so excited about him? I know we just have some of the history. This has been a big need, but is there something specifically that he brings to the pitch that gets you real interested?
Probably bias with the team that I support, but going off watching him in some of the games and sort of the description he's come with on top of him, I get a bit of a Liam Delap feel, and that is probably a big bias with being an Ipswich fan. But I think if
He's
we
got
can
that
get a player
energy
like
about
that,
him.
just works hard, strong, powerful, I definitely think he can bring sort of that. If we can start with that energy at the top, and then sort of players in midfield, defense can follow that, then we're setting ourselves up perfectly to sort of go forward. He hasn't got to play a full 90, but if he's working hard and doing what he needs to do for like an hour or 75 minutes, bring someone else on, bit of pace, defender's going to be struggling, and it's looking good. But it's just if you can do it.
All right. Well, I appreciate that breakdown because, again, for those that are joining, I am the American who loves other sports and I'm learning it through these two gentlemen's eyes. So please, gentlemen, excuse my naive questions, right, as we go through this. But we want to level set with the audience. We've got all sorts of people tuning in from all around the world. Now, so we've talked about the trials game, Sign Ninja, how exciting. What I've got on the screen now is the roster. So we're going to kind of put a bow on the off season by going through what is today's current roster, and then we'll get to the big exciting votes. So we got the management team up on the screen first. Just for everyone, I'm going to level set. If you're not familiar with our coaching staff, some of the names we're using, we can use this time briefly to let you know. The big ones are Breeze for our voting. During live matches, we actually, in the Discord, if you have an NFT and you go into the manager's office, which is a section for, if it's a gated section, we have an opportunity to talk to Breeze about tactics. I know both of you gentlemen on the line consistently have in-game suggestions. I find that absolutely fascinating. So that is one advantage of being a holder. The other big name I would like to call out is the general manager, Dew. Blue, if you could just give a couple words on Dew and some of his history and how that's important to give the club validity when recruiting new players.
Well, it's Dew's general manager, but
Yep.
I'm actually glad you said that because you're speaking in Americanisms and we're no longer working in Americanisms because a general manager isn't what you think it is. So
Okay.
he's actually not our manager in that sense. Do you know what? This has actually got a bit different. They've actually changed it slightly as I've just come up and brought the same page up that you've got, right? So they've this is going to be one of those English to tie to American things. So your general manager in tell me, because it's better off
Sure.
you telling me than me telling you, what is a general manager in an NFL setup?
They're player personnel, so they are not supposed to get involved with tactics. They should be working very closely with the head coach to get players that fit their system. For dysfunctional franchises like my New York Jets, they often are not on the same page and actually trying to compete with each other instead of working on the same page. So, player personnel, general manager, coach gets in charge of all the other coaches on staff, plus tactics, plus players on game day, trainings, practices, etc.
Right. So in this context, or in sort of managerial context, the manager is actually in control of everything. Now these days, that includes tactics, player signings, everything. The then you'd have the owners of the club. The director of football below that would be sort of directing. George would probably be better explain director of football. It's basically somebody who will be in charge of the academies, the club as a whole, the training pitches, everything, the scouts, the sort of all of everything else. But the way that we've got it here, Breeze is actually our day-to-day coach, as it was. Paisel Romere, that's Coach Den. That's our head manager, if you like.
Oh, I got
So
confused. I thought Do was Den. Okay, so director. So
that
all right,
no, but I'm glad that you brought it up
yeah,
because there are differences here, and it's sort of like when people go and look at this, it's it's good to see that we don't always get it right ourselves. But yeah, so if we look at it, Coach Den Paisel Romere, he is a top Thai international footballer. Used to be Thai's left back, played for them against in various international competitions. He played against Liverpool. He's played against England. He's played against loads and loads of different people. So he's our main pull. He is part of the PSW Academy, which is our academy for the club. He's part of the setup for that. So players want to play for Coach Den, but the kids coming up, it gives them an international player that they can strive to achieve to get to his position, because really, other than going abroad, he made it to the highest level that you can within Thai football.
all
So
right. That's
Breeze is our day-to-day manager or coach, as you would say. So
yep.
head coach is a better sort of way of putting it for him. He's the guy that's on the touchline, and when Den's needed, he will come and give advice. But Den's not necessarily the one that's going to be shouting on the touchline, and that's part of the sort of respect thing as well. I think with the entire football, there's no need for Den to be doing it. He's too high up there.
Yeah.
There's Breeze. He's learned the craft anyway. So Breeze has been with us the whole way through. Jew does all of the dirty work's the wrong way to put it, but Jew does all the paperwork. He puts in all of the man hours. He goes to the league events and the cup events and all of that kind of stuff. He networks for us. So he's much more of the guy that's going to make sure that all the paperwork is done and all that kind of stuff, as well as getting involved on a match day as well. So,
So an example here
um,
for the lore of Future United. Back in the day, we were not able to join a league because we didn't have higher quality enough showers, and I think we learned through that
yeah,
experience that whether or not it was about showers or whether it was political or not, or there's some shady stuff that may have gone on, that's for the fans to speculate. That we are, again, not speaking for the club at all. We are just fans who study and love, right? But so I think that we've learned a lot and we understand what an important position that is because rules can sometimes be misunderstood, right? So we need to stay on top of that. Go ahead, Blue. Sorry, cut you off.
no, you didn't cut me off at all, mate. So yeah, Jew is a vital asset to the club, and he's been with us forever. I'm just trying to think. I'm sure back in the day he used to run cameras around and do all the setups on the match day, make sure that everything was ready. Obviously, we have our own camera teams, we have our own comms team. I'm sure that he's running around on a day-to-day doing all that as well. So it's not like he's sitting in an office the whole time.
Sure.
Um, Coach Noom. and M, they are, well, we'll start with M first, because M is a club legend. He's been with us since the start, and he's had a couple of horrific injuries. One where he broke his jaw and lost a lot of teeth, and various other things last season. And I think he also hurt his knee at the start as well. So he is basically sort of a link between the coaching staff and the players. And so basically, with his injuries, he's stepped up into coaching this season and working with the PSW Academy. So Noom is also, I think Noom's fairly new. I've not seen Noom around a couple of seasons ago, but yeah, I've seen him on day to day helping to run sort of the team and that kind of stuff. It takes a lot of people to run the team on a day to day. I mean, Nut, who's there as well, he was doing comms for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Where at one point we had split English and Thai comms.
Part of the lore,
And
right? That was crazy. Ah, wee
yeah. So
wee!
all kinds of noises he was coming out with. So even though some people didn't necessarily, they weren't accustomed to it, I loved it personally.
Yeah.
Right, shall we get on to the actual team then?
Yeah. First of all, Blue, thank you for the history there and level setting with everyone. Clearly, there's a lot. I think my takeaway is there's a lot of resources, investment, and quality at the club. One of the things that I'm drawn to, right? It's definitely a long view. All right, now let's talk to the squad. So, everyone, we're going to go through the team right now. This is the team that officially will be part of the 4th year of Futera United football. And we're going to start with our goalkeepers. There's a couple legends. I'm going to put them club legends because the boy on the far right, Film, he's been around from the start. George, between the net, you have any concerns going to this in this season? What are your thoughts on the goalkeepers for Futera United in our 4th year?
This is an area I've not been the most pleased with, to put it lightly. There's no one that sort of stood out and been like, yeah, I'm number one. Um, the games that I've been able to watch and sort of watch, there's always been sort of some some mistakes that's happened, and it's sort of a bit. I don't know who our number one is, and it's like either because uh I'm not fully watching every game to every detail, or it's because we haven't got a number one.
Well,
Um,
it also because maybe Film looks different every time with his hair changing colors and different body styles. You just maybe don't recognize it's the same guy. I hear you, George. Blue, would you agree with that sentiment? How do you feel about the
Yeah.
goalkeepers going
So
in?
firstly, our number one's actually our number 99, and our number one there, Chang's actually may as well be wearing number 99. Uh,
Fair. He's
well,
our
otherwise, when you look at the
third
squad,
keeper.
you see number one, you go, right, that's the number one, but it's not in this instance. That's actually, yeah. So Film is our number one. Uh, I think I'd like to bounce a question back to George for a second. Is partly this down to the tactics we're playing out from the back and mistakes being made with passing from the goalkeeper to centre backs or
well, yeah,
whoever it might be?
100%. Yeah, there's moments when it's just hit it long. Just don't try and if you're under
Oh, mate,
pressure,
I'm screaming it.
just clip it in the corners, get it out. And it feels like it's just sometimes when we're trying to overplay or we get caught defensively on the break and he just isn't, they're not quick enough to just sort of come out and make themselves big. But I think, yeah, I don't think anyone's been like outstanding in the game that I've seen in that.
Yeah, and Film's not been at his best. Uh, he'll have an outstanding season. Film. Hopefully
Yeah.
it's this season you'll see it because he has had sort of he's been our goalkeeper since the start. I'd say he's had 2 outstanding seasons and 2 mediocre seasons. He's The problem is partly in his name. He thinks he's a movie star, and that's why he dyes his hair and he's a good looking chap. Fair play to
Yes.
him, but he he's got a mental block where obviously he's been told to play it out from the back, but he
Yeah.
obviously loves Edison or these kind of goalkeepers that do that. So he wants to prove that he can do it rather than just hitting it long and just accepting that that's the best thing to do at this particular moment in time.
Well,
And
Blue,
that's the thing that he's missing.
here's the I
He's a
think I'd
great
like to
shot stopper.
connect. He is a shot stopper, but what we've got on the screen right now is the list of defenders. Is this partly a reflection on them?
Uh, it's a reflection on how compact or not our team has been playing recently too. But yeah, what I mean by that is players being in the correct position to receive the ball and all this kind of stuff. But um, no, actually, some of our defenders are pretty good with the ball. But some of them can make some, like the last friendly, Ake, who we'll get on to in a bit, who's I haven't actually checked he's in the votes. I don't know if he's in or not. He
I know.
could be
I
left
saw
out
it. I'm
next
not gonna
game.
ruin it. We'll all find out together, but
I haven't
I did
looked. I
look.
haven't looked. Anyway, he made an absolutely awful. What do we call it? It wasn't quite across the penalty area, but it was right in front of it, a horizontal ball right in front of the penalty area. It just got cut out immediately. I've been banging on like forward passes, no need to pass back or pass sideways. And that's a mistake that I think that the entire team is making at the moment. So you are right to question that plans. It's not
So,
just a goalkeeper.
okay, fair enough. George, sum up the defense going into 2025 in your opinion.
I think, yeah, Blue's probably very accurate there. That we're very good defensively if our aim is just to defend in moments. I think sometimes we overcomplicate it. We try and do too much, and then we get caught out. But I think we're fairly strong again. It's so hard in pre-season because you're looking at so many players, so many trials, so many systems that it's hard to actually look at your players' ability and what they can do. So I think it'll be interesting going into the first game where we can actually then scrutinize, like we spoke about it. We're then actually going to get videos in the podcast. We're going to actually break down certain tactics and plays. So I think it's the defense looks good enough. And hopefully once we get a good cohesive group, um, it'll be it'll be very strong. It's
All
just
right.
again cutting out them silly mistakes that we don't need to do.
All right.
And
I love.
having listened to my football
Yeah.
podcast and some of the interviews they've had with sort of ex-Thai international football managers, like top head guy, it is all about the team and the cohesion
Yeah.
and them playing together and being a family. So we need them to play together a bit more, just spend some more time together, and hopefully, yeah, we'll start to see more results on the pitch. Because there has been a lot of changes in team in players just in general over the last couple of seasons. We've still got a core. So Phil's been with us since the start. Left back Eek's been with us since the start. Centre back Kuhn's been with us for seasons. Pang's been with us since the start. There's a lot of players that have been with us since the very beginning. Tuit's been with us for
Yep. Since the
three,
start.
4 seasons. Yeah,
Boom
that's it. So
came out.
Jude's been with us since the start, but we've introduced a lot of other players around them who are now starting to take first team positions, and that's basically where we're now having to re-gel the team basically
But I
at
think
this
that
point in time.
Blue, that'd be fair to say that's about the whole squad, right? Defenders are they need to gel. There's got new faces there, just like other positions. And so as we turn the page to other positions, when we get into the midfield, I think we'll see a lot of I'm gonna use the word famous names, right? Players that have made significant impacts over the years. And gentlemen, at the end of this squad conversation, I am going to ask you to rank from strongest to weakest the 4 positions. So take your little time. We will do a show sponsor break in between. We reveal that. So let's build it up for the audience. But that will be very exciting. I am interested to hear your 1 through 4th, and we will hear from our show sponsor, the Kicks app, as well. Midfielders. Which one of you gentlemen would like to have a conversation first? Go ahead, please.
Mate,
Sorry.
I'm laughing at myself here because I've just noticed that Jude's copyrighted his name. You see the copyright symbol next to his name. So
Is that a
number
mistake?
10, now captain. No, I'm being right. That what they need to change that symbol because that looks like a copyright symbol, doesn't it?
It does. That's pretty great.
That's
Where are
meant
you
to be the
looking at?
captain symbol.
So
On the squad, we are on futeriunited.com/squad.
Oh, you're on the actual website. I was looking at Twitter. I think
yeah,
it's the
so
same thing.
George,
Yeah, no.
for the
So
audience, we're
well,
screen sharing, and they can see what we're
yeah.
talking about. In the future for these podcasts, I'll make sure that also you guys can see as well. Sorry for the little
Yeah,
back
that's
intro
right.
at home as we're learning. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm choosing the Twitter page, which is the same. Yeah, no sweat.
So I've got
There's no,
Juice.
there's
So
no
what
captain on the thing.
what George is using has got the new signings up there. So we were going to move on to the Twitter page and what's on there as well, because it's got the entire team
Gotcha.
up there for everybody to look at, which is Futerra United, sort of x.com/Futerra United. It's also got the new signings up there specifically.
So I'll get that pulled up
Right,
for the
so
folks at home, but you guys go ahead and please talk about the midfield.
For me,
Yeah, for you, George, please.
this is the guy I said about earlier, Kun, number 9. There's one game I watched it and I fell in love with him. The reading of the game, the way he receives the ball, the attitude he has, the swagger he has. And I've just noticed that he's actually injured, and I'm devastated that he's not playing tomorrow. I want to find out how long he's injured for, because I am very excited to see him start playing. But I think the midfield is the area that looks the most comfortable. I think you've got players that have played together for a while. Um, you've got Ju and Do in there together, and that's where we look the most cohesive and together.
All right, so I've got the graphics up for everyone on Twitter, and we've got the midfielders up. So actually, thank you guys for the suggestion. This is a fantastic graphic as we work through it. So midfielders are up, blue. Any feedback for what George said? Because that got me pretty excited. I like that.
Yeah, or I mean, I'm expecting we've got a lot of new talent this season in midfield, and we've got a lot of talent we've had for a couple of seasons, and it's going to be nice to mix them. We could find Tuit playing as a defensive midfielder. We could find that it's Ian Beale. That's built to everybody else that's on the screen there. Ju plays DM, CM, and will play a ball playing centre back as well. So, to be honest, a lot of these players can play all over the pitch.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the interesting things when we get to the vote. I think that really highlights the interchangeability, and I'll be curious in your thoughts if that's a good idea or not. All right.
That's why I'm struggling to answer your question. Is because I don't want to say, "Oh, Jude's actually our best midfielder," and then he starts at centre back the next game, and people are like, "What the hell?" They said in the podcast he's the best midfielder. It's like, yeah, but he can play ball playing. So it depends how we're going to set up with our formation, everything. That's why I'm a little bit hesitant to answer that question like that.
Sure.
Political.
George, any final comments on the midfielders before we talk about the forwards?
I think this is probably the position that we are the most comfortable in.
Yeah.
Why is it built on Twitter and not Bill then? Because that really threw me then.
Right. So this is because their names are in Siam in the Thai language. It were in Roman. What's ours called? Like we got in Times New Roman, right? So you've got Cyrillic, you've got. Oh, I'm just wasting time here. That's the problem, and I know Plants wants us to hurry up.
No,
I'm
it's all
getting the
good.
hurry up from the start.
But
That's the thing.
the takeaway here is
So
that
is his
there's
name
a lot
actually
of
built then?
No.
So his name's built.
It's our
Well, actually,
nicknames that we use.
You'll see it as BEW Bill. You'll see it as built like that, and it's actually pronounced as Bill.
Okay.
So George,
Look at George getting his head around that. I love it. Yeah, that's me too. But I've just had a couple of years to just accept it and get on with it. Just move along. Just go no.
For the folks-
Go to the forwards.
but for the folks at home, this is one of
They
the
tell me, I just go okay and just repeat it.
this is one of the beautiful things about being a fan of Futerra United, though, for the folks at home, is that you get to learn these cultural differences through the art of football, and that's what this podcast is here to help deliver. So, here forwards, the fun part,
I want to
scoring
stop you a
goals.
second there because
Yeah.
we've gone over Eon, who they reckon is going to be our most exciting player this season in midfield, but we haven't seen him play yet. So the team
89.
reckon that Aeon, is actually going to be the breakthrough player this season, but we just haven't really seen him play yet because we've signed him from the league below, and
Then
he's
tomorrow.
basically come out of nowhere. Sorry, say it again.
Will he play tomorrow?
Yeah,
Yeah. There you go.
yeah, he's
Look
going to
forward
be
to that.
playing.
We'll review
So he's going to
Aeon's
be.
performance.
Yeah, so I expect it to be Aon and Buell playing as attacking centre midfielders is how I put it. Perhaps box to box, but attacking, and then we'll have basically end up with Jew or Tuit sitting behind them, running the show.
All right. I mean, that's a lot of familiar new
Okay.
faces. That's pretty exciting. Any forwards that you think will play? I mean, we're going to talk about the
Why have we
squad right
got so
now. Who are you
many?
guys excited about?
Why have we got so many on the page?
Because
I was looking for like Beam and stuff in the midfielders bit, and we've got about 25 forwards.
I got a saying for you
Because they all
guys.
want to be known as forwards.
I've got a
Everybody
Yeah.
wants to be a striker, don't they?
Like
no.
isn't Ake a defender? Isn't Beam a
Yep,
midfielder?
yep,
Well, the
yep.
old
So
They've all been
Ake
chucked,
is our
they've all
left
been
back.
chucked in the forwards category.
Yeah, he's our left wing back, but he was sat there when Ake was probably actually making the graphics, and he went, "I'm not having that." Put himself as a forward.
I
I
love
think
that.
for,
But
I
yeah,
think forwards wise, Zorro and Ninja are probably the two that I'm excited to see the most from the forward lineup. There's no one like like you take out Beam midfielder, isn't he? Really? Yeah, he's not forward, is he?
He's young too.
No.
mm, no, I mean, you'd say that Beam and Fu are inside forwards. Do you know what? They'll play anywhere across there, but they're not like strikers. Beam and Fu
Yeah.
aren't strikers. So you could take out of there. You could say that Fu is a midfielder or winger. So yeah, Beam can play inside forward, but he's a winger, so I'd still call him a midfielder. Ake is a defender. Um, so Nuang's playing centre back at the moment. So yeah, you could strip a few out of there, is what I'm saying. And Golf's in goal.
Golf's on the bench. Uh,
Oh no, we've got two goals, haven't we?
yeah. Okay, so gentlemen, I think the takeaway here is that we've got a lot of interchangeable parts, a lot of familiar faces.
Yeah.
On the stream right now, I've got my authentic Pooh jersey from the Thai FA Cup match. And so I just wanted to flex for everyone at home that these part of the lore after the matches, jerseys become available. Take advantage of it. Okay, gentlemen.
Well, if you're
Yeah.
asking who's going to start out of them, it's going to be Fu on the right. It's going to be then probably Ninja up front, and then you'll probably have Beam out on the left, and then you'll probably have
I
coming
think
on
what
the
a four
second
three
half.
three.
Zorro and
What we're
Kroos.
going. What do you reckon we're gonna go
Yeah,
with then?
usually 4-3-3. It'll be some sort
Yeah,
of augmentated 4-3-3.
that'd be interesting
But to
to
be
see.
honest, there's so much you can do with it. You can
Yeah.
end up turning it to anything, can't you?
Well, that's
Sorry, Plants, I
no,
cut
no,
you off there. What you
no.
getting onto?
I love it. So I think this concludes the part of our off-season preview. Now we did promise the fans we would rank 1 through 4 positions of strength to weakness. But before we do that, really we want to thank our show sponsor, right? Without this, our show sponsor, this wouldn't be possible, right? So the Kicks app for those that have tuned in, this is not new. This app continues to get better show after show, just like us, right? This Kick app right now is your ultimate football coaching companion. It brings AI in. It helps you, after a long day out on the pitch, succinct the turnarounds to make an impact to your players. I want to go over to George, who has specific information, who's really been working on this, to let the audience know for the show sponsor, why would they use this, George?
Is the revolutionary new app for grassroots coaches. We have spent the last few months developing some new features. It's now easier to use, more responsive. We have halftime reports, so when halftime comes, you click the halftime report button. That gives you up a report of what's happened in the first half, the strengths, weaknesses, what's gone well, what's not gone well. Input and stats has never been easier. You click the player, shot on target, shot off target, assist, goal, defensive action, save, all of that good stuff. And then gives you a stats profile where you can go through sort of goal involvement, how your shot to conversion rate is, how many shots it takes to score a goal, all that sort of stuff. And it's so hard I really want the team to use it because I think it'll be great for us, the podcast and fan, to sort of get that data after games of how many shots Ninja had on target, how many sort of defensive actions our defensive players had, who's scoring the goals, who's got the most goal involvement, who's getting the assist, and it's all there to sort of view. And it's we're trying to make it as simple as possible. Feedback, we really want, and it is just great
Well,
app.
thank you for that. On screen here while you were talking, the audience was looking at all the updates, and I gotta say, I love the graphics. The iterations are great, so I can't even imagine by the time 2 weeks from now when we do our next podcast after the season preview, the additional changes. All right, thank you, the Kicks app, again for this week's show sponsor. All right, gentlemen, to put a bow on this off season right now, who would like to go first? Strength, best position to worst position. Who wants to go first?
Blue, do you need more time? Because I'm ready to go.
All right,
Go for it.
go for it,
I'm ready to go.
George.
For me, the worst position, apologise, has to be the goalies. Be at the weakest area, I think, for us. Apologies. Hardest position, I know. Then the third weakest area is the defenders. Again, apologies to you lot at the back. I know it's the hardest look for you. I would then go the second silver medal is a forwards. I think because it's the most I'm excited about the new signings and the players, but also we've got so many options there. And then the gold medal easily is the midfield. I think we've got the most utility, the most cohesion, the most excitement, the possibilities. Can we go to a 3? Can we go to a 4? Can we go to an 8 and a 2 8s and a 10? Can we go a 6 and 2 8s? I think the options there in the midfield get my juices going, get me excited.
Well, I'm getting excited. I like the second half of that little rant than the first half because, boy, Blue. What's your ranking? I'm curious.
I love the way
Best
that like the
best to
goalkeeper's
worst.
all about how confident they are as a player coming into the season, and George goes, "Fix him whilst he's down." Have some of that. I thought you were having a good season. I don't think so. Well, it's all right. First game, I'll blame mistakes on George. Don't let him watch this, guys. Don't let him watch this. So I'm going to be like a bit more specific about like saying I think specifically strikers actually our weakest position because we haven't got that many strikers. All right, not forwards as a whole. I'm saying like
The
literally
question was
number.
forwards. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
you
I know. I'm
can't
going to break
change
it
the
down a bit.
question.
There's only
Yeah.
four
Well, I would
position
say that.
groups. Only four.
Oh, right. Well, if we're doing it like that, then it's. I would say that midfielders is our top. Oh, has our forwards actually produced enough? No,
But it's
forwards haven't.
excitement.
I would.
It's excitement. We've got 2 new signings in there.
We've
Big
got
house.
excitement, but have that actually.
Yes.
See,
Uh,
I
The
like
pre-season
win.
show. We've got to get the
Back,
fans going. We've got to get the
win at the
excitement.
back though. Yeah, but win at the back is so good, and they haven't even seen win yet. So win, right? Win's going to be playing, I think, probably right centre back tomorrow. And he is a unit. Like he's a unit and he's so fast. He's going to come in with his number one haircut and he's going to destroy people. The only thing he's got to do is look over his shoulder because I think that's where he's a little bit weak. But so I'm thinking about some players we've got, and yeah, okay, definitely top is midfielders, and then I will go. So Chang as our second backup goalkeeper is a really good shot stopper, and I think the film is as good as you're going to see in this league. So I would go second goalkeepers, and then I'm going third forwards, and I'm going fourth defenders after all that.
Interesting.
Real
So
politician.
I'm going
Real politician.
centre mid, goalkeeper, forward, defender.
All right. So we have
Clean
different.
sheet. Big clean sheet tomorrow, lads. Prove us wrong.
Yeah, I hope so.
We
Clean
don't
sheet for the
concede. We
season.
don't lose.
That's it. That's what I always say.
All right. Well, I like that you both have different responses because that means at the end of the year, one of you guys is going to be right, and the other will get to play back the tape and see how they feel. For what it's worth, I think the strongest position is midfield, goalie, defense, and then by far the worst is forward. Do something, prove it. Until you do something on the field, they're going to be last. It's just been a glaring hole for season after season. I hope I'm wrong. All right, gentlemen. Now, we previewed it at the start. The fun part, one of the fun parts, the football manager part of it. I got on the screen right now the official votes. The first vote for a game. We've had many votes for this new fourth season about who we signed, some decisions along the way, kits, right? We haven't even talked about kits today.
Surely the kits is the first vote that we've got to talk about. Surely.
No, right
Yeah,
now we're not doing that. We're keeping the focus. We have to finish. Let's put a bow on this for tomorrow's game. We had 2 big votes. We've been talking strategy. We talked about the defense being an issue. Right now I've got on the screen the left back. The vote came down to Eek, Ram, and Pang. The reasons for the folks at home, just the argument, and for those that haven't seen a vote before, the way it works is the coaching staff, along with Mark, who is, we'll call it club owner. I'm not sure exactly. Mark is the mouthpiece that we learn from. Fantastic individual. They write up why these decisions should be made, and then the fans get to vote. So for Eek, the reason would be is that he's in great form. He's making a real shout for the starting place. For Ram, he's got the most pro experience. We're betting on pro experience here. And then for Pang, he's been around a long time, consistent performers. But has he shown enough to maybe jump Eek? Blue, I'm going to go to you first. I left out Baz, actually. Sorry. There was actually 4 persons. Baz, the argument for him was he's just super consistent at the right. So we're looking for a partner with him on the left. So just to put a summary, Baz is definitely starting. We're looking for a partner between Eek, Ram, or Pang. Was this close for you, Blue? What was your thoughts?
Closer than the vote suggested, because Pang is arguably our. But even though he's right back, when he played at left back, he was unbelievable because he's quite defensive. He loves to track back, and the way that he tackles, he had so much enjoyment from slide tackling with his right foot. It was unbelievable. Every time he did it, he'd jump up and celebrate with the team. It was like the most fun he'd ever had as a player. So you could see that he loved playing left back, even though he was a right back. So that sort of like level of commitment made him incredible at left back. Anyway, in pre-season, Eek, who's much more attacking and much more likely to get caught out, has been fantastic going forward. He's been doing the overlaps. He's been setting up goals. So we're going with that to start with. Right? That's where, yeah, it's close now. Yeah, that's what I voted with anyway. So I voted Eek personally.
George, do you agree? And for the vote was actually 58 to 0 to 0. 100% of the vote went to Eek. George, was that people just buying into what Mark and Blue think? Where's your thoughts on this? Are you as certain?
I didn't vote on this one, sadly, and that is what happens when you don't vote, you can't have a say. So for me, if hindsight is a wonderful thing, I think Pang would have got my vote, but don't vote, you can't talk. That's my opinion. So I think
Why?
Love you.
Why Pang? Why
the
Pang?
worry for me is like we're voting for players without knowing the system. Yeah, I don't know if we know the formation we're playing tomorrow, but if Eek's a more forward-thinking player and we're playing as a 4, are we going to get caught out on the left-hand side? That's my. It's. I'd rather than come out being like, look, we're going to play a 4 at the back, 3 at the back, 5 at the back, whatever. Who fits that system, rather than going player first. So if he comes out and goes, look, we're going to play a 4-3-3 or whatever he's going to play, then we can be like, okay, right, we need a more defensive-minded left back, or we need that sort of player. So that's, yeah, for me, I would have picked Pang just because, like you said, a defender love defending. What more can you ask for? Unless you want a wing back who wants to get high.
All right, I love the logic. I think that makes a ton of sense. We will see.
That is the difference between the 2 of them. Like that, George has summed that up perfectly. That's the difference between the 2 of them. Eek is a wing back and Pang is a fullback.
All right. It's also come down to style, right? I guess is this simple to say that if we go down early, a player like Eek would be nice to have as an option, but if you get a nice lead, maybe you pull out Eek and you go more defensive minded. Is that too simple that way to think?
You never know, mate. It's football.
Yeah. For me, it's all system based. It's all what what player suits system you're going to play. Normally, every coach has their preferred system that they want to play and want to go with, and
Yeah.
then it's fitting your personnel around that system.
Okay. All right. Simple enough. We will find out tomorrow, which brings us to our second vote. And this one is a spicy, interesting one. I think it has player personnel, it has tactics involved. Uh, the big question is Kuhn, our big number five, is out for at least a couple games, right? So we're looking for who is going to start at the back. The choice point comes with Jew out of position or maybe not, right? I'll let Blue expand on that one. And then to it, where do we slide them in? So what is the pairing going to be at the back? Blue, would you like to have first one on this? Or we throw it over to George.
I think you need to read that bit about Win first. About how he's a rare and physical specimen in his prime fitness.
Take us away, Blue. Why?
Wham!
I did miss
He's
that
going to
part.
come back. Wham! He's been away with the army, running, carrying bricks and logs and stuff like that. They do national service in Thailand, so they all of the team at one point or another will go away and do their national service with the army. So Win's obviously been doing part of that, and yeah, he was a big guy beforehand. He's going to be even bigger now. So yeah, so he will be playing centre back, and it looks like by the voting there that Jew's going to be playing centre back. So for me, right, I voted for Jew at centre back and Tuit, who plays centre back at defensive midfielder. And the main reason for that is that the team players asked for it. So the actual players basically said, Tuit's the best defensive midfielder that we have, we believe, as a squad. Can he play there? Can you put him up for vote? And that's what's happened. So I'm giving the team a chance and saying, okay, I believe in you. If that's what you believe, I believe in you. And then if they're wrong, I can blame them.
All right. I like that logic. So you're basically saying let's trust the
No, I'm
players.
only joking, mate. I'm only taking the piss. I wouldn't blame the team.
No, I
But
know that. No,
that's
I
basically
will.
but the
I
logic.
the
will.
start bit was correct.
I
Yeah,
want to ask.
Georgia blame him for it.
I want to ask like the dumb American question here. It's like so basically you're saying the players know best. They're playing with each other. This is what they want. So I'm gonna back what the players are saying. But game two, if you guys don't show up, I'm not gonna trust maybe your opinions as much. Is that a fair summary?
Yeah, basically, if you don't prove to us what you're saying you can do, then we'll go back to what we believe that you can do. And that'll be basically taking it back to taking it back to being a bit more simplistic with it and saying, look, to it, you come from centre back, you maybe you are good with your feet, but let's stick to what you know. So he'll go back to centre back. So Jew is far too small. For those that remember, Mascherano played centre back for Barcelona for quite a while and was pretty much the best centre back in the world whilst he did. And he was about 5'8". Jew is about 5'6", which is about 5'8" in Thai, and and his positional awareness is one of the things that makes him a fantastic player. He's always been able to cut out the ball, and even from defensive midfielder, he's been able to drop back and play as a centre back. And when we've had injuries, he's been able to play there. So one of the problems that we've had recently is the classic England problem of playing the ball along your back four and not progressing it forward. We're going to have a defensive shield in front of a ball playing centre back who's hopefully going to be able to drop some balls over the top for the likes of Ninja and Beam and Fu and others who are going to be rushing forward, because we've not really had mobile forwards for the last sort of few seasons. Well, now we have. So hopefully some diagonal balls from Jew should be just what we need. That's the theory.
George, what do you think? You think the vote the way it shook out is the right way, or are you going against Blue here again? Because quite honestly, I'd like if you went against him. I like the banter. Where are you at?
He's going to. He's going to. Don't
You
worry.
look at his smile right now. Yeah.
He's a conventional coach. He's a trained conventional coach. Of course he is. I'm a
All right.
disruptor.
I, I like what Blue's saying about the team wanting let the team go with it, but the first game of the season, I don't get why you'd risk it trying something new when you've got a centre back and in midfield and a midfield player and a centre back. I just don't know why you wouldn't wait till the 60th minute or the 70th minute to then do it. But yeah,
Biscuit for a
again,
biscuit.
I don't get what I like. 75th minute, you're 2-0 up. Like, let's do it now. But to start
So
with it,
we are actually slightly familiar with Police Ladkrabang, and I believe we played them a couple of times before. I think we beat them a couple of times before as well, actually. But a lot of the time we are, even against the bigger teams, they seem to let us control the match or press up against them. They just seem to sit back against us, and I'm not exactly sure why. But it means that we have too much of the ball and we just sit there and pass it along. So if that happens, this is perfect. If you get a team that doesn't sit back, I think this could give us real problems. And that's why I think that this is okay for Police Ladkrabang, but perhaps it's not something that I would play against a better team. But I'm not saying I know a lot about Police Ladkrabang. I'm just
I
sort of, you're not
games that
wrong.
I've seen, I've liked you. I thought he's been decent in the games I've seen him. I don't know why you change it, but again, the vote's gone the way the vote has gone. So
Well,
So
I got to give you guys credit real fast. You guys made such a perfect transition, making my job easy as host. On screen right now, we have the graphic of Police versus Futera United. You guys are talking about the matchup going back and forth. George, it sounds really interesting. You're saying if you have players in positions, it's the first game of the year, so let's feel it out. Blue, you're saying why waste time,
so what's
right?
happening here, right? What's happening here, right? What's happening here? You got to it is going to be ultra defensive and is going to control that area. Jew, if you put in there, he really is a centre mid. He pushes forward to that position the whole time. What they want is for Tuit to sit and control that defensive midfield area, and for Aon and Bill, old Ian Bill, to did you read about the t-shirts? I'll get back to that in a second. Ian Bill are going to be rushing on, so they're going to be coming into the box as late, basically making late runs into the box. So that's the theory. That's what they want to go with, and in a way, I guess what they're saying is they want to almost pin you back a bit and stop him from. If they put him at defensive midfielder, he's going to move forward. So they know that if they put him there, he's going to sit back in that position. It's going to control the area in front of him, and then the two midfielders can just run on, which should then leave us with basically 3 to 4 players constantly back in that area to control it. We'll wait and see if it works out like that. I mean, I don't know about you, George, but I prefer having a ball-winning defensive midfielder to having a ball-playing defensive midfielder.
yeah, the defensive midfielder should be to basically win the ball back and give it to a better player, in my opinion.
Mm,
That's the
that's
sort of
it.
CDM's.
To cut out those balls that come over the top.
Yeah, CDM's role is to get it and move it. Just what you were talking. Why are we not playing a 3-5-2 then? With how you're talking about the system and the wing back. So surely if we're playing, who's playing? The back three is what? Jew. Who else should you say? B? Is it B? No. Who'd you say?
It should be back 4 should be Eek, Jew, Win, and Baz. But I agree with exactly what you're saying, and it should be either an augmented sort of 3-5. You can do this in a couple of different ways, right? Correct me here. You can either have basically one of the fullbacks go forward and the other one stay back and push in, creating a 3, right? Or you can have the defensive midfielder. You can let both of them rush on and have the defensive midfielder drop back and create a 3, or you can just start with a 3 to start with. They've tried doing 3-5-2 in a couple of friendly games before, and the team absolutely collapsed. They just couldn't handle it. They're not tactically aware enough, I don't think, to be able to play it. So I think it'd be much easier to have a 4-3-3 and just say, look, Eek, you run on, Baz, you don't, you sit there, and you basically create a 3 by doing that, or whatever. How would you do it? because you're the coach. You tell me what you would think would be the smartest way to do it. Would you drop the DM back to create a 3?
Like in my mind, while you were talking, then I was trying to write down what you said. So you'd
Yeah,
have
yeah, it's
Jew,
not.
Win, and Bass
See you
as the
creating.
3. Yeah. So Jew, Win, and Bass would be the central 3, and then you'd have 8 and Fu as your wide players, wing backs. Hewitt
Yeah,
and
I guess.
Do in the middle, with Zorro and Ninja up top. Who would be your third midfielder then in the
Well,
middle?
it's going to be central midfielder is going to be Bill and Eon.
Bill in it, yeah. Bill, that's the one.
It's your favourite player last week. How you forgot him so quick?
He's one of my favorite players too.
Kun's the man.
Yeah, it's 10 now.
Do Bill and Tuit in the 3, yeah?
Yeah, and then Eek
Like that,
left wing back.
yeah. The Fu right wing back. Like for me, that just in my head while you're talking makes sense. You'd have Eek and Fu getting forwards. Then you've got Jew, Win, and Bass can be the 3. Jew can pop into the middle, rotate with to it, and like that. That's how you're talking where you're playing. That's a system that would suit players. Whereas it feels like we're trying to force, like I said, players off the system first, then the players will come in, and it just, yeah, we'll see how tomorrow goes.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, I don't know about you, but this might just be from playing too much Football Manager. You should have like 3 formations anyway.
Oh
So we
yeah,
should be
yeah,
able
yeah.
to go 4-3-3, 3-5-2, 4-4-2. That should be, for me, 3 sort of like kind of standard formations that you could potentially use. Obviously, you're only going to be really familiar with one of those, but you should be aware of the other 2 to play for, counter attacking or for whatever you need to do at the time.
Yeah.
Right, Plants, you got any more questions?
No, I don't. Was really actually super interested in that conversation. For folks that are joining in, the best way to get involved is go into the Discord. There's 2, I'm gonna call them like gated. There's 2 chats. There's the open one for public, and then there's one called Manager's Office once you have that NFT. Both of them are pretty active on game day. My recommendation would be pop in there. If you do happen to get one of the NFTs, this is where we ask the more detailed questions. I'm gonna call them more sensitive questions, and we definitely get more personal answers from the club owners and management. On game day, specifically, tactics are talked in both, but more of the live tactics. What do the coaches actually want to do is in the manager's office. Obviously, our opponents could be in the public chat as well. It hasn't happened yet, or we don't know if it's happened yet. But that to me is super unique. So as we get geared up, we are right now looking at 10 hours and 15 minutes away from kickoff. That's 2 a.m. for my time. I know for the boys, they've got to sleep in between that. I hope I take a nap between, but regardless, we will be up and fired. I'm going to have the On Cyber gallery open for anyone that wants to pop in there and see the game. That will be live. That'll be in the Discord. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's just like a little metaverse viewing experience. It's a way for us on this podcast to have fun and try the new tech out there. All right, boys. I've got the graphic on screen here between Futera United and Police. I'm going to go first to take the pressure off you and let you think first. We're doing official score predictions, okay? I'm going to go out there. Futera United, 2. Police, 2. I got a draw in the cards, 2-2. I do think we'll dominate possession. Too many changes for me, and I don't know anything about the opponent. I actually don't know anything about this sport. So I'm taking a draw. That is what soccer football does. Boys, who wants to go next?
What's your score again? What are you saying?
2-2.
2-2.
2-2.
Now,
by the way,
quickly.
Pooh definitely scores. Oh, I mean, this jersey right here, Pooh has at least one. Arguably, he's also gonna have the assist. Official. Yeah. Go, George. What's your thoughts?
So, do you listen to the Peter Crouch podcasts?
Never even heard of who that is.
Now, so
I'm aware of it. I'm very aware of it, but I don't listen to it.
They did a similar thing where they predict the Premier League games throughout the season, and I think we've got to do the same. We give our 3 predictions for every game. Correct result and score 3 points. Correct result 1 point, and then 0 points if you're wrong. And we league table it.
Write this down.
And then
Write this down.
So I've got Plants 2-2.
Yes. All right. Yeah,
Blue,
okay.
do you want to go next?
Okay. I'm gonna go 4-1 Futera.
Ooh, okay.
I hope you're right. How many goals out of Pooh?
Yeah.
Um,
Police Ladkrabang can go. But I won't say too much because they might arrest the team on the way out because they are actually a police team. Because is actually Navy teams are actually associated with Navy, police teams are actually associated with police. We've nearly come a cropper on that one before.
Yeah, we did. That's John, right?
I
No
That was
joke.
John.
No joke.
Yeah. George, you're the last one.
I
Bring
am
us home.
going Futera United 2-1.
Okay. Conservative, I'd
And
say.
so Plants, you've gone Food to score. Yeah. Bonus point if that happens. I'm going Ninja to score. Bonus point if that happens. Plants.
Blue. I got Pooh. I'm gonna go Pooh every single game.
Oh, sorry, Blue.
You can write it down. Every game, I'm going Pooh.
God,
George Smith.
I hadn't thought about that one.
Take Ninja. I know you
All
want a
right,
goal
let's go
scorer up
Eon.
top.
Let's go Eon. New boy Eon.
That's risky. You don't know how many minutes he's gonna get.
Yeah, that's risky. That's right. That's risky. But I know how these teams play, and they're not too good at defending on rushing midfielders, late on rushing midfielders, and that's what I'm hoping he's going to be. And Jew can't take long shots from centre back, so we're all good there.
Fair enough. All right.
Excited.
We'll put a bow on this one. Thank you, everyone at home, for joining the third episode of the Susu podcast. Again, we are a fan podcast. We are here for you. You've got our socials on the bottom. Hit us on the Discord. Reach out to any of us. We'll help onboard you, explain tactics. You want to come on the podcast, leave us some voicemails. We'd love to play them for you. Again, thank you guys all for joining, and have a wonderful night. And again, let's go Futera Susu tonight. Big win, Police. As Blue said, they can take a big fat L.